Hello my desert runners! Today we're going to learn how to make a furnace, gunpowder, and explosives in Starsand. To make gunpowder, you'll need 4 things: a furnace, sulfur ore, charcoal, and a mortar. Now for the furnace, mortar, gunpowder, and the 2 explosive types, you'll need the pertinent recipes unlocked first. There are, at the time of this video, 2 furnace locations on the Starsand map, and that's what we'll go get first. If you go to the first oasis straight out of the starting building and follow the markers strategically placed on the dunes all the way to the ruin that they lead you to, one furnace that you can examine for the recipe will be there. Alternatively, if you go to the left out of the starting building and go over the dune to that other close by oasis, then go straight between these 2 dead trees toward this cleft in the dunes, you will come upon a much more ruined ruin, which will also contain a recipe for a furnace. Unlocking the furnace recipe also unlocks the mortar recipe, which you will need for gunpowder. Next we'll need to locate some clay, which is readily available at most but not all oases. The closest spot to obtain some, if you're following along my secondary path, is just over these dunes in the general direction of this broken building part. The clay nodes are pretty easily distinguishable, and you'll need to mine a minimum of 2 nodes to have enough clay ore to build your furnace and mortar. Next we'll need to make our way to the north side of the map to get some sulfur and metal ore. If you go in the direction of this stone cropping from the oasis I just showed you, you will eventually begin to see large mountains in the distance. We don't want to go into the mountains, but to this pit area just in front of them. Here you will find the noxious pit where metal, clay, and sulfur are all in abundance. Be careful though, standing too close to the pit for too long will cause a small amount of damage from the fumes. Once you've collected up a decent amount of ores, I'd suggest getting as many as you can carry since sulfur and metal are relatively rare. You can construct a furnace from your placeable crafting menu and begin using it. Place the furnace somewhere you don't mind waiting for a while, preferably in an oasis, since it does take some time to smelt the required components. Place either sticks or logs in the fuel slot and metal or sulfur ore in the input slots. If you have no coal already, I would advise using sticks as the fuel since they burn faster and therefore produce more coal. Once you have smelted your ores, extract all the outputs including the coal. For the last leg of this endeavor, we need to get the recipe for gunpowder. The recipe for gunpowder is within the pyramid, which is easily visible from much of the central area of the map. If you're still at the noxious pit, make your way up to this nearby cleft in the mountains, and then locate these 2 rocks. If you follow the direction these rocks point into the desert, it will send you right to the pyramid. Before you enter, get some logs from the nearby dead trees for making planks. Going as deep into the pyramid as you can, and taking the right-hand path, you will come across a gap in the floor that requires you to place 5 metal beams across, and then lay 5 to 10 planks down as well to cross. Both planks and metal bars can sometimes be found in the chests in the pyramid, so if you don't have all the required materials for the bridge, check those chests hidden around before making a long trip to collect the missing supplies. The more daring of you can opt to place as few as 5 planks and jump the remaining distance of the gap rather than make the total 10 planks. On the other side of this gap is a room containing the recipe for gunpowder and explosives, as well as the mortar recipe if you didn't have it already. Make your way back out of the pyramid and place a mortar somewhere in the nearby sand. Focusing on the mortar with your reticule, open the crafting menu, and under the resources section you should now be able to craft gunpowder. Once you input the command to craft the gunpowder, you do not need to stay by the mortar. Okay, now comes the fun part. There are 2 different explosives that you can make with gunpowder at the time of this video: coconut grenades and explosive barrels. Coconut grenades require 1 gunpowder, 1 empty coconut, and 1 lashing, and are simple throwables that do not need an ignition source and cause a moderate explosive damage. The explosive barrel is made from 5 gunpowder, 3 planks, and 1 metal bar, and is a placeable that does massive explosive damage, but also requires a torch to ignite. Alright, that's everything you need to know. Go blow up some sandworms, drop a like or subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, keep on surviving.